Question 14. In these diagrams, what is a part labeled X? So you can see X here labeled. It's going to the rod here and also to this plate here. So we have 4 options. We'll consider each option one by one. Let's first consider option B, the cathode, which is a negative terminal. The cathode is the positive terminal. Remember, the T in cathode shows the positive side. So therefore, cathode is a positive terminal. And statement B is incorrect. Statement C, the anode, which is a positive terminal. The anode is a negative terminal. They say the same thing but using different words. So both of them are incorrect. Option D, the anode, which is a negative terminal. The part labeled X here is undergoing reduction. Therefore, it is a cathode, not the anode. So option D is incorrect. If we turn to question option A now, the cathode, which is a positive terminal. The part labeled X is the positive terminal where reduction takes place. So option A is the answer. Now let's move on to question 15. Choose the most correct statement about lead acid cells. Now it is important to know it says most correct statement. That means all of these may be correct, but it has to be the most correct. So you would have to consider all your options before picking your answer. Now let's consider option B first. They produce a high voltage and are used in cardiac pacemakers. They are actually not used in cardiac pacemakers, they're used in car batteries. Option C, they are very light and safe to transport by hand. They are quite heavy and that's a disadvantage of a lead acid battery. Option D, their small size and portability have led to development of small electronic devices. They are not portable as they are heavy, and also they are quite large in size. So option D, they are used in cars and can be recharged. That is true. Lead acid cells are used in cars for car batteries and they recharge because they're secondary cells. Now let's look at question 16. Question 16 is also a multiple choice question. Choose the most correct statement about dry cells. We have 4 options here. We'll go one by one. Option A, they contain sulfuric acid, so care must be taken when they are moved. They do not contain sulfuric acid and they are easily moved. So option A is incorrect. Let's go to option B. They are very expensive and contain heavy metal. They are quite cheap and that's an advantage of a dry cell. So that is not correct. We'll go to option D now. The carbon casing is a cathode. It is not a carbon casing, it's a zinc casing and that's the anode. It is a carbon rod, that is a cathode. So option D is incorrect. Let's consider option C now. Dry cells are used in torches, some toys and portable radios. Now that is correct because users of dry cells are torches, toys and radios. So option C is the correct answer. Now let's move on to question 17. What environmental issues are presented by the disposal of lead acid batteries? Now note that it is lead and acid. That means it is quite harmful because both lead and the sulfuric acid that is used in those batteries are harmful. Lead acid batteries contain concentrated sulfuric acid as electrolytes, which, if disposed incorrectly, would leak into environment and cause significant damage because it's so corrosive and caustic. Sulfuric acid can pose very significant environmental damages. So that would be your answer for question 17. Now let's move on to question 18. It says, with a galvanic cell you've studied, other than the dry cell or the lead acid cell, justify one of its use in terms of its properties. Now it says other than dry cell or lead acid cell. We looked at the silver oxide cell and we'll be using that example here. And look at the key verb here, justify. Justify means to provide an example and also back your example up. So when we're giving one use, we have to justify, give evidence and back it up. Looking at the silver oxide cell, they are widely used in portable devices such as calculators, watches and hearing aids. So you know the little button cell that we learned as silver oxide cells, they're used for calculators, watches and hearing aids. Now comes the justification. As a justification, you would start off with, this is because silver oxide cells are very small, lightweight and can maintain a high voltage supply throughout its useful life. So these are properties of the lead acid, the silver oxide cell, which correspond to its uses, and that's how you would justify its use. So that brings us to the end of the topic, which is the galvanic cells. We talked about the components, the reactions, as well as EMF in a galvanic cell. We also looked at how you would construct a galvanic cell in school, and also 3 different commercial galvanic cells, which were the dry cell, the lead acid cell, and also the silver oxide cell.